Welcome to our first layer of the Bay Area Stand Up. I'm from that town. She from Vallejo. Said let's collab. She said okay. We all should play. Hot potato. Whoever got the hottest challenge accepted. It's me, I'm the best. Like creative players on hunters, no less. The lines in your forehead just told me you stressed it. Got G-O-D on me side. Oh, he blessed me. All these lies they tell it's a vaccine. They're acting it's so bad like it's wrestling. Keep my circle so small it's insane. If you made the cut then you're part of my team. Just like bowling at pint called strikes don't gutter. Attracted to the mind but I like my hooder. She gotta have a pretty face too.
Hi, welcome to the channel. I am Mrs. Best. Thank you for being here this evening. I know if you are in the United States, because I do have some people watch me all over the world. Hey, world. It is a little bit late. So I appreciate you guys, especially if you're on the East Coast. I know it's like 10 something there. So I'm like, woo, chat. Anywho, we are here to go over 90 Day to Single Life, Tell All Part 4. Y'all, first of all, this is my first time watching 90 Day to Single Life thoroughly. Like I've always caught like little episodes. I more so was keeping up with the family Chantel and 90 Day Fiance. And then I got tired of 90 Day Fiance because I was like, oh, it's the same stuff. You know, a bunch of people getting played for citizenship, in my opinion. But I never really watched 90 Day to Single Life thoroughly. I don't know if this is normal. To those who watch the show, comment and let me know if it's normal to have 5 parts for a reunion special. That to me is wild. That to me is like genuinely wild. Like that's a lot. 5 extra weeks just because of whatever. So that's wild to me. Anywho, across the bottom of your screen is the ticker. It gives you information on when our recaps are, questions and suggestions for shows you'd like me to recap, panels, just things you want to see us do on the channel. You can send to the email. And I have had requests recently for where can I give a tip or leave a donation? You can send it to B3ST on Cash App, Venmo, and or PayPal. So I appreciate all of y'all. And we are going to jump right on into our With a Wee Crap. So this was an interesting tell-all. We see John propose. That's where we left off with. And honestly, I've never been so happy to see someone propose because his brother was the most negative Nancy that could have existed. You do not need enemies when you have family like Patrick. You don't. And his you know, John proposes. His brother's still not happy because he proposed right after his brother says something to kind of make a point. And the first thing Patrick does is call his wife, judging how fast John and Megan are getting engaged. He also referred to Megan as a booty call and is surprised they got this far. That's not caring for your brother. That's hate and jealousy. Because who the hell are you, Patrick, with your small head and big body, to be judging John saying he moved too fast when you was a part of 90 Day fucking Fiance? Which, for those who are unsure, means they attain a, I believe, K1 visa, a special type of visa that says you have 90 days to be engaged and they have to get married or they have to get the hell out of America. And so that to me is rushing. You are not in a position. I don't think any of the people on this stage, and that's what's comical about it, and I wonder if the cast knows that, none of them are in the position to give anyone advice on dating or choosing people to have as friends, to have as anything. None of them. I don't care if we got a nurse up there and a lady who raised a man who grew up to become a cop in Georgia with the highest recidivism rate and the most shady cops in the country. I don't care how much good comes from their children, what good they've done, how successful they are. None of them make good choices when it comes to dating because they chose to go outside the country, which is crazy to me. Date someone who's available to you here and now and who you don't have to wonder is playing you. So for people like Patrick to have something to say about people like John, who actually met this woman, dated her long distance for some time, then decided to see her and visit her back and forth, make it official, moved to San Antonio for her once he cared for her, lives in her house, they live together, he's helping her to raise her daughter, he found a job, and they've been together for a year off of the show. Outside of that, why is that rushed, but you marrying a bitch who still ain't learned English fully is not? I don't understand that. I just don't understand that. And I'm not saying anything negative against Patrick's wife. She seems nice. They had their baby. It's working out. But I do wonder about her reasoning for being with him, and they did not get together traditionally. So I'm just saying his brother has no room to judge. And that's unfortunate. His brother's jealous. Anywho, Fernanda and Older Debbie. I'm going to call her Older Debbie for this recap because we're going to have Older Debbie from the other 90 Day franchises as well as Fernanda, who's beautiful. Love Fernanda. Every time she smiles, I'm just like, yes, smile some more. She's beautiful. But we have the older lady Debbie come out. They were both on 90 Day. I don't like how 90 Day Fiance does this. If they weren't on the season and they don't have current beefs, we don't need them to be on this show. We just don't. But they come out and they discuss Miss Debbie. Now, we have finally gotten to the area of discussing Miss Debbie. We will wish John and Megan the best. And Miss Debbie, Older Debbie, this is going to get confusing. The Older Debbie says that she thinks that Miss Debbie is afraid of telling people her real age. She says that she's ashamed of her age. And I kind of agree with that. And Miss Debbie explains why she lied about her age again, because she says she wasn't getting hits on the dating site because she's older, which at first I understood because I know that dating past 35 is hard. So I can imagine doing it past 60. But she says that that's the reason why she was unable to tell the truth about her age on this app. Now, when Older Debbie explains that you can date in person as an older person, because she's 72 years old, so she's older than Miss Debbie. She says you could meet people in person. You just got to get out and go out. She said that there are apps specifically for seniors. You can filter the age group so that you can see people your age. There are so many options, basically, that Older Debbie gave to Miss Debbie. And that's when I was like, okay, now Miss Debbie full of shit, in my opinion. And I kind of thought that about Debbie watching the show. I understand that she loves art and all of these things, but I'm starting to look at Debbie like, okay, there's something else to it, and I'll discuss it more when her son comes out. But there are some holes in Debbie's story. Like, you lie about your age, but you were just with a 22-year-old. I think Miss Debbie thinks because she pulled Osama that she could pull another one. Miss Debbie still isn't able to accept you didn't have a breakup. You were scammed by Osama, and it worked because his family is living because of you. They were feeding them. She's still sending the money. So I like that the Older Debbie called bullshit, because Miss Debbie, if you notice on the cast, she's much older than the entire cast. She could be the entire cast mom. So I noticed that they are reserved when it comes to giving her their feedback on what they saw about her compared to how they are with each other. And I think it's because no one wants to disrespect their elder, which is totally fine. Nothing is wrong with that. So then when Older Debbie asked her, why don't you use your other options and stop saying it's just for this? And Miss Debbie claims she being attacked. I said, no shade, classic white woman, that's what they do. You call them out and they should, oh, I'm been attacked. Like, girl, bye. Miss Debbie, you were not attacked. She made a good point. And Older Debbie, if she wanted to attack you, she would. We've seen her attack some other people on this show. But I think that Miss Debbie ultimately might want a younger man, and I think she's a little bit shallow. I think the things that she was saying to Chantel are actually how and what she is. I do think she was saying it to Chantel. I think it's one of two things. She's either one of the people throwing microaggressions unintentionally, or I think that she doesn't want Chantel to end up like her, still alone, looking for shallow shit like age. So yeah, there's that. Next thing we see is Debbie's son come out, Julian the cop, and he says that his mom lies and that she does have options for dating, because he says he was listening to everything that was said out on the stage. And he says that his mom decides basically to choose the bad guys, which I agreed with. I love her son. I don't like his profession because I just don't trust it anymore with all that my people have gone through. But, you know, he seems like a good guy. He seems to love his mom, and she seems to have done a great job with her son. And I like that Julian is honest with his mom as well. He says that she chooses the bad guys. And I agree with that. And Debbie couldn't really refute it either. And no one on the cast disagreed with her son either. Now, moving it along, Ruben ends up coming out. Ruben the Cuban, as Debbie likes to call him. And we find out that Ruben has seen Debbie. They have seen each other since being back. Since her leaving Miami, basically. They definitely have seen each other, which is good. But Older Debbie starts grilling Ruben because I think it was important. I think older Debbie sees, like, Debbie, you sitting up here trying to act like you have all the wisdom, but you're ignoring what people are saying. You're not listening to these people, your son, nobody. Older Debbie says, Ruben, where are you from? You live with your mama? You dating anybody? So you sure you haven't talked to nobody out there? You sure? That's positive? That's the truth? And Ruben stumbled a bit, but she asked him a bunch of questions and only one about women. And he kept saying, I'm not saying other women. I'm not saying other women. That's a lie. Ruben the Cuban lives in Miami, Florida, darling. He has a lot of options outside of Miss Debbie. Now, what I think is Ruben probably watched this show and knows what he's doing, and I will get to that later. But he did seem a little shady on this episode. But they move on to discuss Julian's behavior in Miami. And what they're talking about is how protective he was of his mom, wanting name, birthday, social security number, all those things, running the guy's plates, questioning him about if it's legal for them to be painting on that wall. Just all sorts of crazy things. And Julian explains that he just wants the best for his mother. He wants his mom to be with a good person, and he worries about her because he has a right to worry about his mom. Like, this lady makes horrible choices in men, down to the marriages from the past. Nothing has worked. Some people can be so smart and make the worst choices when it comes to dating. It's a fact. Many people are like that, not just Debbie. That's not abnormal. But not a lot of people have somebody like Julian in their corner, trying to help her. So, he just says he worries. Now, Ruben chimes in to say, I want you to know my house is paid off. I have zero mortgage, zero rent. My car is paid off, so my car is free. And Julian mentions then, because Ruben's trying to make it seem like I don't need Debbie for anything. No one's assuming that you're using Debbie if they know that you have your own property and all these things. But it's when you say things like that on your own, Ruben, it looks strange. So Julian then mentions to Ruben, well, if you like my mom, how come you would not come and, meet her just to say hi at the hotel? Because I guess the cast is all at, the same hotel. And I do think that's strange. If you're supposed to be dating this woman, y'all text, y'all talk, it's supposed to become something romantic, then why the hell would you not come to her room if she invited you there? I don't care if she's 72 or 92. Why wouldn't you go? So I found that to be weird that he would not go. But when he said that, I felt like Ruben is definitely using his mother for television. I do feel like Ruben is using Debbie maybe to get seen. He's loud. He's from a city where of lights and fame and, glitz and glamour. So I can imagine that he might want that. Just because you're 58 don't mean you don't still want some of the things you wanted at 28, or 18, hell. But next thing we see after that, after being concerned, instead of answering the question about why he did not come to Debbie's room, he drops his drawers and shows that he has Miss Debbie all over his drawers, which I was like, oh Lord, that didn't even make sense. Like, how are you able to drop your drawers for this woman, but then you say you don't want to go to her room and make her feel like he's doing or wanting sex and nothing else? I don't think that's that. I something about Ruben is off, y'all. But after he drops his drawers, Fernanda ask him, well, if you have the time, the money, and the energy to get a pair of boxers made with Debbie's face all over them, then why couldn't you find 5 extra minutes to get in the elevator and push a button to go to her room? Why? And I loved Fernanda and her beautiful self for asking him that. She's so sweet. And when asked if Debbie thinks if Ruben is hiding anything, Debbie says that she saw Ruben was on the dating site that they met on because she went back on it. And she says that he was active on the site recently. And he had also recently put that he prefers and is looking for women who are 30 to 50 years old. It makes sense. Ruben is 58, 30 to 50, I think is an appropriate age range for him to be dating. But what that is a red flag because Miss Debbie is 68, probably 69 now. And nothing is wrong with her age. I think she looks great in general, but for her age, she also looks great. But if I see that someone I'm supposed to be dating is looking for people who are 30 to 50 years old, and I am at least 15 years over that age range, then why are you dating me if you prefer 30 to 50? Do y'all get where I'm coming from? So in my opinion, I don't think Ruben wants her. We had learned that Ruben had a wife, was married to a lawyer for 17 years. They had no children, which is common for lawyers sometimes because their hours are crazy. Respect to the lawyers, y'all. But I feel like he might want a younger woman because he never had kids. He's got sick parents. Maybe he wants to give his parents the gift of grandchild. And I am not being shady at all. I am a woman myself, but women, we know when we get to a certain age, for some women, we're done. For most women, menopause happens, we can't have children. Then there's some women giving birth to 70. So, it depends, but I'm pretty sure Miss Debbie's done with that. I feel like that could be something for Ruben, but I also just feel like he's a little bit of a snake, a little bit like you could own all your own stuff and still, have nefarious, intentions. That's how I feel. But Miss Debbie says that she is still interested in Ruben, which was wild to me and a huge concern. And Fernanda, she tells Ruben, you better not disappoint me. You better talk to Debbie. And Fernanda's a very pretty woman in general, not like sexy how some women have the like sex appeal. She's just pretty. She gave like pageant vibes. But Ruben gave her a look like, little thing, I'll tear your ass up. And I did not trust that because I'm like, he looked a little too happy to hear from her. But they all leave the stage. And then we get to move on to Tim and Louisa. I thought we were done with Tim. I feel like they should have done Veronica and Tim and then Tim and Louisa and left it there. But it is what it is. So he says that he was not ready to date Louisa. Tim also says that he and Louisa lack compatibility. Now, Louisa, her response was that Tim used her and only called her to vent about his life, like kind of like a friend. But she was like, what the hell do you want? Why are you calling me? And I don't think she realized how bad that made her, but I'm going to leave it to, I'm going to say that could be a language barrier. She's adorable, beautiful woman. I feel like it was definitely a language barrier. But you shouldn't be upset, Louisa, if he's calling you to talk to you about stuff. That's a sign that he might be interested in you because he's calling you to talk to you about his life. But a lot of people have alluded to Tim being gay. Listen, I know it looks bad to those in the gay community, like, oh, don't out people. But at the same time, it's like, if you're gay, people want to know that, especially when it comes to the dating aspect. So Tim does give off those vibes. I'm not going to lie. But if you think he's gay, then don't call it out. I think that's mean because what if he is and now he could potentially be feeling outed? I think that's a little irresponsible, but it is what it is. She's pissed off. And we have to rewatch the awkward kiss between Tim and Louisa, which was just like extremely uncomfortable for all of us. But he looked the most uncomfortable with the kiss. It was terrible. And Louisa mentions that she did like Tim, but he had so many excuses to not meet up with her that it was a little ridiculous. Like Tim had excuse after excuse after excuse, you guys. And it just absolutely makes no sense. Makes zero sense, but it is what it is, y'all. It is what it is. Here's what I think. Because they move on and she mentions she does think he's gay. And they ask, well, Tim, what do you have to say to that? I'm a firm believer that most straight men would say, yes, I am straight. Most straight women would say, yes, I am straight. People are bisexual would be like, I am bisexual. Depending, but I think it's harder sometimes for men to come out and certain things, especially like in the same sex. He did not immediately answer, no, I'm not gay. It took him a very long time to say that. And then Miss Debbie is like, Tim may have low T because she's older. So she probably has experienced this. And low T meaning low testosterone, which some men do struggle with. And it's actually common. And I think just the negative jock boy, ignorant ass, perspective that men have, they view that as a negative. But sometimes stuff can be fixed with a pill and you're fine. In the past, I had to take estrogen pills at one time. I did, but I have PCOS, so that's different. But, I'm just saying, like, people go through different things. But I'm sure he's gone to a doctor. And when they take your blood, things like that, they could check that. So I don't know. I don't like how everyone makes a discussion about this man potentially being gay or, not being gay or anything like that. Just because I feel like It's not our place to out this man. Have your feelings on the, situation and things like that. Sorry, y'all. My cat, I have a pet, and he's kind of clingy. It's like, run me. Anywho, but it's one of those things, like, it's not your place to say. Like, why are you so mad if you're not going to be back together? It just seemed like Louisa wanted to attack Tim at this reunion tell-all. And what did he do to you other than not fuck you that makes you so upset? I'm saying it. What did this man do to you other than not drop off his man package that has you so upset? And I don't understand why she's tripping either, because it's like, girl, y'all not together. You said you don't want to talk to him. You said you don't want to be with him. So go and do that with somebody else then. Don't have us here and you just attacking him knowing that it's not going to go anywhere. I don't like when people do things of that nature. You know what I mean? I really don't like that. So that's how I feel on that. But after all of that bullshit, we hear Tim say he does understand how and why people could think that he's gay. Veronica also says he might have low testosterone because when they were together, it wasn't very often that they had sex. If sex feels like a chore to you, you're either with the wrong person or you don't like who you fuck. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'll say. But it's just interesting. But they did ask about Louisa and Jamal and if they hooked up, and they just act like that would be funny. I don't think that's funny. And then we get to backstage and we see Louisa, Jamal, and Tim and Veronica. They all cross paths, meet up, and end up talking. And she states her feelings again. Same shit. Beating the nail. Come on now, Louisa. And he apologizes again. He acknowledges her feelings as she's still like, I never want to talk to you ever again. Just shut the fuck up and stop talking to and about him, Louisa. Because I'm starting to not feel sorry for you. If you're done with Tim, be done with Tim. I'm sick of it. It's annoying. And I didn't understand Louisa's anger toward Veronica either. So it looks like she's just mad that she didn't get her way. The man didn't work out. Now she's throwing a fit and going off and attacking him. All she's showing America, Louisa and Jamal, is that, one, Jamal showing us you can't trust him for shit, in addition to other stuff. But what Louisa and Jamal are both showing the world is they are dangerous to date because, God forbid, it doesn't work out. They will do everything they can publicly to humiliate and put you on blast. And I think that's wrong. I don't believe it's ever okay to kiss and tell. I don't think you should break up with somebody and just go air their business. Be done, move on, and get that bitterness out your spirit. That's how I feel. But, I know for people, it can be different at times. But yeah, so moving on, do me a favor and like the video if you haven't already. Replay gang, I very much appreciate you guys so much. But moving on, Veronica and Jamal talk in the back, and Jamal was flirting with her. And I just feel like the situation with Veronica, Jamal, and Louisa is about to get messy. And I think that's the only reason Louisa's being mean, because we pretty much learn that Louisa and Jamal had some interesting occurrences. But when Veronica and Jamal are talking in the back, he's flirting with her, and I feel like the whole situation is messy. And then we get to see the cast. It seems like they go on lunch breaks and stuff in their little dressing rooms. And, Veronica mentions to the cast that she wants to go out with Jamal potentially tonight since they made peace. I think she want to fuck him, because when she walked away from Jamal, the way he looked, he had to look back at her and she just kept going. I said, oh, he still wants that. I think Veronica and Jamal probably have out of this world sex. I really do. And I really think that because Veronica's older than him by a couple of years. And the more seasoned a woman is, the nastier she becomes. It's just the way it goes. So I feel like that's probably what that was. I also think Jamal is a little bit of a fuckboy, personally. But backstage, off camera, we get to see but Jamal's dressing room. And they capture not on camera, but they're still mic'd. So we hear Jamal and Louisa having a conversation in his dressing room. And they capture them talking about the good time they had together the previous night, which was interesting because Chantel says she saw them alone in the hotel restaurant kicking it and stuff. And it sounds like the cast was kicking it, but they ended up going off together. Now, Jamal says fuck Tim when it comes to him and Louisa dating, which is crazy because just 2 seconds ago, he was flirting with Veronica. So Louisa about to get her karma for how she acted toward Tim because, Jamal ain't gonna be good to you, girl. But I guarantee there's not a straight man in the world that wouldn't, hit it when it comes to Lisa. She's a beautiful woman. She's adorable. So we basically catch up and find out that they did have sex, and the episode ended with Louisa and Jamal confirming that they got drunk together and they don't even remember it. But I think, if you've ever been like trashed, that there is a such thing as blackout drunk, but then like as you're going throughout your next day, certain stuff starts coming back and they're probably seeing each other folded over in all sorts of parts and shapes. So, a message is, but that was the doggone recap. I'm looking at my notes like, oh my God, it really is over. That was the fastest recap I ever did, but I feel like that recap was so fast because, I mean, honestly, I'm not trying to be rude, but like nothing really happened. I feel like parts 4 and 5 could definitely have been in one. That's just how I feel. I am more so curious of what's going to happen with Debbie, and I want to see how Megan going to handle John's bitch ass brother. That's really what I am concerned about. But I appreciate you guys. My last recap right before this one was almost 2 hours, so I am happy to get a 30-minute recap done. We are going to end our recap as we always do on the channel by playing the music of independent artists because that is what we do here on this channel. I am a platform that supports independent artists, creators, and all of those things. Just good vibes, love, and the doctrine of thug life. So we are going to listen to Also Best. That is the creator of B3ST Entertainment. We are going to be listening to a song from his recent EP that came out last month, the month of March, with a artist from Florida named XL Avaca. This is the second song off their EP titled Man. So we will end the live listening to that, you guys. I appreciate you all. We'll be live again tomorrow to go over Love and Hip Hop Atlanta and Miami. So love and light to you all. Thank you for watching. I hope you subscribe. Live replay gang. I love y'all and Thug Life. Enjoy some Also Best. Enjoy the song, y'all. I'll see y'all next week again for the Tell All Part 5.
I'm on a whole different level, never sold my soul to the devil. Might go out my way and catch a case of the new Beretta. I could get any bitch I want, I make that pussy wetter. I could get any bitch I want, the pussy wet like it's weather. Rain, going through all this pain. All these bitches hitting me up, they only care about the fame. I don't care, little baby, all these girls I really sing. I'm just tired of being locked down in all these motherfucking chains.
Look, animated girl said me too. Got moving, but not a part of me too. I was swearing on a while, but I need to. Infinity beyond your deep pool. I'm trying to get out that bay, no more delay, but out to stay. Thinking what country should I go to now? She said between her legs and thighs. I'll slide. Better not talk that jive. It's lit, we live.
Battle station.
I'm a nerd, so I need you to cosplay. Be my nominee, I'll be a Luffy. Gunkin' Gatlin, dangle lame. My devil flu gon' leave you crazy.
Look at my whip, it's a VA. Look at your car and shit, eh? Line it up, going shit on. Zero to 100 off hitting. Taking a money, might catch in the body. Hopping a whip and I hop in a Rari. I fucking that bitch and I pass it the next. I tell that bitch I'm sorry. I ain't a man. I ain't a man, I'm the man, hold on. X on the man, where the plan, hold on. Fucking a friend, make no amends, Look at me, yeah, look at you, I'm doing good, yeah. How about you, look at me, yeah, look at you, counting stats, yeah. My finger blue, I'm the man, yeah. Who are you, yeah, you a fan, yeah. Watching my moves, yeah. Look at me, look at you. I'm worth 100 you. I'm on a whole different level, never sold my soul to the devil. Might go out my way and catch a case of the new Beretta. I could get any bitch I want, I make that pussy wetter. I could get any bitch I want, the pussy wet like it's weather. Rain, going through all this pain. All these bitches hitting me up, they only care about the fame. I don't care, little baby, all these girls I really sing. I'm just tired of being locked down in all these motherfucking chains.